What's going on, everybody? It's your man, Bigbo here.
Bigbo.
Chilling, living my best life. You know what I'm saying?
Stop moving the fucking microphone around.
Don't tell me what to do. This is my
You already
bit.
had me cussing at the beginning of this episode.
Don't tell me what to do. Hey, look, if you're clicking on this episode for the first time, give us more than 20 minutes. Give us 30 or 40. We have found that some of you are we actually look at the analytics. So the most, what's the average number? What's the average number they click off?
50.
50 minutes. There's 50 minutes and then...
And you know who you are out there.
And some of you, it's like 25, 30.
It's ridiculous.
Come on.
Why even listen in the first place?
Come on.
Don't even listen.
Come on.
You know what? Stop listening to this podcast. I want everybody to stop listening to this podcast. No, please don't
stop. Please don't stop. Please just give a second. Give a second.
Seriously.
No, we're just joking.
Just kidding.
Please.
I'm sorry.
He's sorry. Give us a chance. If this is your first time clicking on, give us a chance. We have a really super cool guest, Jared Reston.
Yep.
From Reston Consulting
Group.
Is it group? Is it consulting?
It's group.
Okay. Reston Group.
It's group.
Super awesome guy. If you want to pause this right now, Google him. He's the truth spitter. Super good guy. I hope you guys like the episode. Right now I want to talk about our sponsors.
It's a miracle we have any, but go ahead.
Yes, our sponsor being Harbor of Hope. The Harbor of Hope is a foster organization here in North Texas that works solely with fostering kids and finding them good homes to be in. And
wait a minute. Did you say North?
Like North Memphis.
Did you replace the TH with an F?
I don't think I did.
You said North.
Nah. Pretty sure I said North. I'm pretty sure I said North.
Continue.
Anyway. They're a foster agency that places children in good homes. And yes, all foster agencies do that. But what separates the Harbor of Hope from everybody else is that Jamie at Harbor of Hope really believes that first responders will make the best foster parents. So that is like one of her main goals. And when she told us that, we're like, yo, we got to partner with you, because we really think that too, because there's been those calls where we've gone to where it's like, man, this kid really needs to get out of here. This kid really needs to be in a better place than this. And it touches your heart a little bit. And it's like, man, how can I help this kid? How can I get in contact with someone who can help this kid? And sometimes we really don't know. And, you know, CPS is just one aspect of it. And then you have places and organizations that work with CPS, like Jamie does at the Harbor of Hope, where she then places the child in a foster home. So she vets houses, she vets parents, she makes sure that this kid is going to have everything it needs to be successful. Thorough. Yeah, she's very thorough. And she helps place kids from 0 all the way to 18. And some of those kids, even after they're 18, she can still help with educational benefits, healthcare, dental, and all that stuff if they qualify for it. And she'll help them get qualified because she believes in helping people. She's a super great person. We really appreciate her support, and we want to help her out. So if you're a first responder out there listening to this podcast, we need you to give her a call and say, hey, I want to be a foster parent. I want to adopt a kid. Maybe you and your wife can't have any, or you and your partner, your significant other, what may have you can't have kids, and you want to know how to help, and this is a way to help. So even if you're not in the North Texas area, but this is something that you want to do, give her a call. Say, hey, I heard about you on Street Warrior Radio podcast, and I want to be a foster, but I live in Minnesota. She can put you in contact with somebody in Minnesota that's going to help you and help get a kid into your arms, and that's really what it's all about. Go to our website at streetwarriorradio.com. You can find a link on our page to theharborofhope.org. It'll send you to her page. It'll also put you with some information from the podcast she did with us, episode 013. It'll let you know her mission statement, her purpose, and all that stuff. And if you want to donate, you can do that on her webpage. So definitely give them a look. I want to thank Top Notch Tactics.
Oh, real quick, the number for her, if they want to give her a call directly, it's going to be area code 817-304-8207. That's directly off their website. They also have a contact information on their website. You can go to there and fill out your name, a little message, and the website is theharborofhope.org.
Boom. Top Notch Tactics, security company here in the North Texas area. They provide security for everything and anything you can imagine. If you want to get in contact with them, info@streetwarriorradios.com. Drop us a line. We'll get your information over to those guys. Leo owned, veteran owned, minority owned, everything. Good guys over there. And our last sponsor and partner would be Amazon Click-Through. Hey, if you're going to buy something from Amazon coming up, Labor Day's coming right around the corner. Maybe you need that big green egg grill. You can buy that on there. You can buy anything you may need for them, decorations, cups, plates, all that stuff. They've got it on Amazon. So if you're going to do your shopping through any online source, I would say Amazon. They've got really good prices. Use the click-through on our page at streetwarriorradio.com. You scroll about all the way down almost, and you'll see it says Amazon. You just click there, boom, shoots you to the Amazon page. They're not going to charge you anything extra for doing it. They're not going to, nothing. It's just they're saying, hey, cool, you heard about us on Street Warrior Radio. They brought you to us, and we're going to give them a little something. So help us out. It's the easiest way to support the podcast, all right? So enjoy the episode with Jared Reston, and here's the music.
This is Street Warrior Radio episode 025 with your hosts Bigbo and me, JC. What's up, Bigbo?
What's going on, man?
Nada. Today we have a very special guest, Mr. Jared Reston. If you don't know about Jared Reston, we'll get to that in a second. We'll talk all about who he is. Super fascinating guy. Amazing story. Amazing survival story.
Super badass.
Super badass. He'd probably counteract that, but super badass in my opinion. And with that, Jared, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Thanks for taking the time. I had some technical difficulties at the beginning, but we got to work.
Yes, sir.
For those, I know you've kind of shared your story a million times. I know you're asked all the time. I know that we have listeners that don't know who you are. So if you give just a kind of a brief background of who you are, kind of where you came from, what you do, that'd be great.
All right. I'm still an active policeman in Jacksonville, Florida. I work for the sheriff's office here. I started in 2001. I've been on their SWAT team since 2004, which we're a full-time SWAT team.
Awesome.
So I've been on since 2004. Their lead firearms instructor and things like that since 2008. Just a very active go get it cop, I guess.
Right. Cool. And you got a training company too.
Oh yes. Yeah. So, 2009, I started my own training company, Reston Group Training. We try to provide what we feel is a great program for law enforcement, trying to weed out some of the things you don't need and things that you do need for civilians and law enforcement, just, domestic law enforcement.
Right.
So
what's that process like, deciding what people need and what they don't need?
Man, it's not what people need or they don't need. It's just I've had the very fortunate advantage of training with a lot of different people,
right, with my
agency, because they're really great about getting us training, and I've had some really good training and I've had some really horrible training. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
And just mean that, but I mean not horrible, but like just stuff you can't do in the domestic United States.
Oh, I'll say it. There's some horrible training out there, and
so to me it just kind of wastes my time, like, if that makes sense.
Right.
So and I just feel like we put a good spin on things, that we're more coaching you, not teaching you something. It's a coaching thing. We're trying to build you up, and we have a process of doing it that I feel really can bring a shooter, because we've seen so much. I can take you from like average shooter to a pretty decent shooter pretty quick, just trying to round the edges a little bit, speed up your process on how to get you quicker because, being on the SWAT team, we have some pretty high standards on our SWAT team. So I got to take a patrolman who just tried out for the SWAT team and in a very short time make him a productive SWAT team member.
Right.
And what are some ways that you do that?
Calls and things like that.
And what are some ways that you do that?
I mean, it's just, just with different things, after seeing certain amount of people do things wrong. I mean, there's only so many things that people do wrong when they're shooting, and being able to recognize it and not waste time on other things, just focus on things that count. That's like what I was talking about, just rounding the edges. Like, yeah, that's great. Like, I'm not going to waste a whole bunch of time trying to get an under a second draw when I have so many other things that I need to do. If I can't reload fast, if I'm spending all my time doing this, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And what are some of the biggest, what's the number one issue you see people having when you teach them classes, when you have your own class, or when you're training them for SWAT? What's one of the biggest things you see?
I think they try to shoot too fast. They try to outrun their brain.
Okay.
And they kind of move slow and pull the trigger fast rather than the other side of it.
Okay.
And that's just they just try to go way too fast.
Yeah, I'm a firearms trainer too, so no, but I found that with most of my students, the issue is a basic lack of it's definitely what you're talking about as far as like trying to shoot too fast, not taking their time, but it's a basic lack of understanding of fundamentals is a big issue that I found. But I deal with mostly patrol cops, so it's kind of
it's not even a basic lack of fundamentals. It's most of the time they're not even taught proper fundamentals.
Right, in the first place.
And then they get a false sense of security in my mind.
Yeah.
Like they leave a lot of basic law enforcement academies aren't teaching proper fundamentals, but they pass the qualification that makes them able to carry a gun, so they think that's they're good to go.
Sure.
But that is the bare minimum you need, and it'll get you through an officer-involved shooting, but it probably wouldn't get you through a gunfight. Right.
Have you found the attitude that when an officer or anybody in general really gets on a static range with that paper target sitting down at the end of that, and they get a fairly decent grouping, they sit there and look at that, and they've decided, or they've confirmed or affirmed in themselves that they're a good shooter, when in fact you're not introducing stress into the environment or anything like that. Do you ever have or find students that walk away from that going like, oh, I'm a badass shot?
And yes, and that to me just means, all right, now you have the fundamentals. Now it's time to add stress on it's time to build from there.
Right.
That's where they need, not like, hey, I'm a badass shooter, I don't need anything. It's like, all right, well, I have the shooting piece down. Now let me get the stress and the thinking part down. Shooting people is super easy. The act of shooting them, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The hard part is deciding who needs to be shot or when they need to be shot. Can I shoot them? That's the hard part. And that's what we do. You only have so much bandwidth in your brain.
Right.
So if you're worried about, all right, I got to, to draw my gun, I got to break retention, do this. If you're thinking about those steps, you're not thinking about solving the problem. The weapons manipulations need to just happen, like subconsciously through training, and not be worried about, or like, am I going to hit this person? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you might shoot at them, but it's better to hit them.
Yeah, right. That is the best thing. You want to eliminate the threat.
Yeah. So.
Yep, you need that good enough shot, not a perfect shot. But that being said,
so when it comes to training, I'm not trying to get you to knock anybody else or do any of that stuff, but when it comes to training, what's makes you stand out? Why should someone take a class that you're teaching?
I don't think I stand out. I think that there is a group of great trainers out there, and I think I'm one of those groups. I just might talk a little, like what I say just might ring true to you. Like, if that makes sense. Like, a lot of us are putting out the same information. It's just maybe the way I say it, you hear that.
Okay. So it's how you teach it.
Right. So, I just think when you're looking for instructors, just look for experience, look for different things, and where they where they come from and how and who they're kind of associating with, and if that's like the core group of guys that you want, then train with those guys.
Yeah.
So,
you know, if there's some outlier, don't think I want to train with that guy and see what he's. If there's an outlier, that guy is. He's a reason he's an outlier.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I'd agree with that. Do you incorporate mindset into your training? Because I think that you know, I try to drop little tidbits here and there about for me, mindset's terribly important. In fact, for me, it's one of the most important things. Having the mindset to be able to execute that portion of the job, which may be extremely rare. It may be, you never may have to do it in your entire career as a police officer or even as a citizen that's having to, in a self-defense format. But how important is incorporating mindset into your training?
It's super important. But mindset's not like about when you're training. Mindset's about the way you live your life.
Right, I'd agree with you.
And like, and living by a code and living, you know, it might not be, you know, law abiding but you live by a code.
Yeah.
And the way you live your life is what it's about. What have you done going up to this? What are you doing day to day to give you mindset? Because it's not just something, all right, well, if it goes bad, I'll have this mindset. You can't be like happy-go-lucky Jimmy Joe and then think that you're going to flip it on when it's time.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, you live a certain lifestyle. You understand what's going to happen. Like, you're different than other people. If you carry a gun for a living, you need to understand that you are not your average citizen. We are there to protect that average citizen. That average citizen shouldn't know what we do every single day, or shouldn't feel like how we feel, like push ourselves and do those things, because that's why we do these things. So they don't have to.
Right.
Yeah.
So the way you live your life is mindset. Like, you know, going to the gym, going to the range, doing everything that you have to do to prepare for that 1% of the time, that 0.001% of the time.
Right. No, I'd agree.
But that's mindset to me.
Do you think there's a lack of? I feel like in today's law enforcement environment, there's the term. It comes down to terms, right? Because today's law enforcement, in my opinion, it's not the same everywhere. But in my opinion, a lot of it is about optics, right? We want to be friendlier.
Yep.
We want to appear more approachable, and that's all good and everything. And there's value to that. But I think that the having that warrior ethos, that warrior mindset, has been lost in some respects, because I don't think it's being pushed. I don't think that mindset of being ready and capable to survive the fight, both mentally and physically, is being something that's taught. And I've seen it here in Texas, where you have, you know, your bigger budget departments. You have typically some pretty decent defensive tactic type training programs, use of force up to firearms, etc. But when you start getting away from those big budget departments and you start talking about your smaller agencies that are very, very, very community oriented and focused, I feel like it's gone away from that in a lot of ways. I've seen so many departments that don't even. You ask guys like, when was the last time you had a defensive tactics class? Oh, in the academy. You know, and yeah. I don't know if that's indicative nationwide or in your area, but I can say for sure it is here. And
it's bro. You can look at this. This started in the 80s with like community policing and Operation Safe Streets and
right.
the DARE program and putting police officers in schools and doing things like that. I mean, I'm older, but like when I was a kid, it was embarrassing for the police to be at your house if
right.
they came to your, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
everybody wants to human. Like, look at, like, I mean, you can tell, like, with these lip sync battles and all this stuff, everybody wants to humanize
Don't get me started
police.
on that. Yeah.
Which you shouldn't humanize police. You need to, it's not the person that shows up. The police show up to your house. An authoritative figure shows up. We are there because you called us. We don't just show up at your house. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think people, when they humanize it, they minimize what's happening when you show up.
Right.
And you're without a doubt, you're on no one's preaching it. You have some, like sheriffs and chiefs of police, that push it, but they're the minority, not the majority pushing. I mean, you can just tell by like all these different Facebook, challenges and all that other stuff. It blows my mind that agencies probably spend a bunch of money and a bunch of resources on making this lip sync video. Oh, cool. Why don't you just bring some dudes in and teach them training?
That's that's a fact.
You bring up a good point. Okay, so you brought up the term humanizing the police, right? So I kind of look at it from two different sides, right? While I'm very much in my mindset, I'm very much kind of old school when it comes to, well, call it quote unquote old school or whatever, in how the police should operate within the community. At the same time, though, I kind of do see some value in I guess humanizing. I mean, there's an organization out there, Humanizing the Badge and stuff, that tries to do it, and they do some good things. And I think in some ways they do help a certain percentage of the population understand that there is actually a human being behind that uniform. But at the same time, though, I think that something's been lost in the lip sync challenge is a perfect example of that. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, all this stuff's just gone way too far. It's just gone way too far. I understand, You haven't even seen how far it's going to. It's going to be ridiculous. Oh yeah, and I think we've gotten to the point now where we're starting to become entertainers, and and not just entertainers like in the facet that Bigbo and I here are doing the podcast, right? But I mean, I'm talking about like where cops who are out on the street are being, I feel like that's where it's going to go. We're going to be that authoritative portion of the job, that part where back in the day, the people that needed to feared us, right? I feel like we're trending away from that. Yeah. Right. And it's not just, you're
exactly right. It's not even fear. It's a respect.
Right. Yeah. That's a better word. That's a better word for sure.
They respected the law because the law was there, and they made it's. I don't ever want anyone to fear me. You know what I mean?
Right.
But you will respect the badge.
Sure.
You will respect the law. We are a nation of laws.
Right, and we're a direct representative of that.
Right.
Whether we agree with them or not.
I get it. Like, there's a lot of laws that I think are stupid.
Yeah.
You know
me too.
But that ain't my job. I enforce the law. I don't make them.
Right, and that's a delicate balance, right? Because you have like, and I hear it all the time. I see it on social media all the time. And when it comes to like political views or personal views, I'm fairly libertarian for the most part, right? I'm not. I don't care about weed. I really don't care about. Honestly, in some ways, whatever you want to put in your body, if you want to destroy yourself, that's cool. I have no problems with that. And a lot of our drug laws and stuff, I don't agree with, just period. And the amount of money that's spent on that, when there are actual people hurting people out there, or actual crimes. I mean, not actual crimes; those are crimes, but other crimes that could be focused on better with those resources. Yeah. And that's kind of how I look at it.
Human trafficking or
victims crimes.
Yeah, victims crimes.
True victims.
Exactly. Yep. And I kind of look at it like, but it's a difficult balance because you get, what I see is like people like, well, the cops shouldn't enforce that stuff because if they don't believe in it. But there's that delicate balance there between the oath you swore to uphold your office, right, as a police officer, enforcing those laws of whatever state you're in, and what your personal beliefs are.
That's it. I mean, if you don't want to enforce them, then you quit.
Right, exactly.
It just depends on how much. like, I might not like this. Like, you know, let's say like you write a traffic ticket now, like in Florida now, they're super expensive. And I'm like, man, this is really out of control.
It's out of control, right? Yeah.
Because you did it. Like, I don't agree with how much this should cost you, but you know, your broken taillight's now costing you like $140.
Right.
Yep.
It's crazy.
You know what I mean? And that's crazy to me. But all I'm doing is enforcing it. You know what I mean? I'm not making them. I'm not. And then people say, well, you know, you don't have to enforce it. Well, then I need to just quit.
Yeah, if I wasn't going to enforce it, I better go find another job because I'm eventually going to get fired.
Right. Well, I mean, not even that, but it's on the books for a reason.
Yeah.
It's not my job to say whether or not, you know, why a or why speeding is, you know what I mean?
Right.
The lawmakers that we voted in made the laws. For whatever reason, they just didn't make up a law. That's why it's, you know.
And if you want that changed,
there's a reason why it's still on the books.
Right. And if you want that changed, you elect people that'll change it.
Right. Because the thing is, like, you know, we'll talk about weed. You know, in certain states, it's legal because that's where they want it. They want it. That's where the public said. Well, in Florida, the public says, no, we still want it illegal.
Yep.
Same here in Texas.
The laws. That's it. Like, I mean, easy day.
Right. And that's our function. And I equate it to on a smaller scale, a soldier who deploys to a war he doesn't agree with.
Yeah.
And fights in the war he doesn't agree with. That's his job.
Right.
Yep.
Yes.
That's his job. And
he signed up for it.
And he signed up
exactly.
for it. Exactly. But I think that I think we're walking a real fine line between this. How far are we going to go with this community-oriented umbrella versus actually tackling crime issues that are happening?
Bro, it's gonna go.
It's just like it.
Just do your job, bro. You're gonna lose. It'll make you lose your mind.
Oh, I know. If you think about it too much,
and do your piece, what you can do, and put who you can put in jail,
and
do your job. Because if you start worrying about the other stuff,
yeah. And what's funny about that?
You'll pull your hair out.
Oh, I know. And I did that at one time. I did that very early in my career. I started in 2006, and I worked for a large agency in Dallas. And I learned real quick when I started going to court that if I don't just stay in my lane and not worry about what happens when I get to the prosecution side of things, crazy. I will go nuts. Because I literally watched a DA, an assistant DA, and a defense attorney sit in a DA's workroom while I'm waiting to go testify on my case. I'm waiting. I'm listening to them talking about another case that I had submitted to the DA's office that office had gotten. It was 2 aggravated assault against peace officer offenses on one individual. His defense attorney sitting there and the ADA sitting there, and they're talking about the golf game that they had over the weekend and the drinks that they had afterwards and the ass that they chased that night together, right? And then they get done with this. And then these are 2 people I knew that I took this arrest on, that I filed this, I put this dude in jail on, that this dude fucked up. And I'm watching these 2 individuals sitting there, and the defense attorney's like, hey, so what can we work out with this deal? And the ADA is like, we could probably look at probation. And I'm like, if I sit here, I'm going to lose my fucking mind. Yeah. I'm about to lose my fucking, and I stopped caring at that point. I was like, you know what? When I drop them off at jail, I'm done with it. Whatever happens.
I'm a true believer, so you can't stop caring. Like I'm a true believer in the system.
I am too.
But I mean, I could tell. Like, I mean, you're doing this podcast to help other police. I know you're a believer. Like, this isn't like to make $1 billion. You're not. You know what I mean?
God,
that'd be nice though.
Be nice.
And but I mean, I can tell. Like, I mean, I understand that, and we're all trying to help, and we're trying to. But at that point, you just like. Once the arrest is made, like in my mind, he's going to prison forever.
Right?
Yeah, he's not. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
he's done. Yeah, he's done. Yeah.
See you on the flip side, homeboy.
Yeah, that's all. Like, all right, I'll see you maybe next week. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Or you drop those dudes in jail, and you're like, there's no way this motherfucker's not going to get some like massive bond. Yeah. And there's no way he's getting out. And then the next day you're rolling through the same spot and there he is flipping you the bird and you're just like, what the fuck? And you go check his bond. It's like some stupid ass amount. And you're like, how does that even happen?
PR bond.
It's a personal recognizance bond. You'll pay this later, right? Yeah. Okay. You're free to go.
You're good for it.
Yeah. But you're right. It's for all its faults, it's the greatest system in the world. Right. And we have to be agents of that. And we couldn't do our jobs 100% effectively if we didn't buy into the system, right?
Yeah.
Because what would be the point? What would be the point?
The best thing so far, I think one of the best things I agree with that you just said was, instead of police department spending, and like these are dudes that are getting paid overtime to come in and do this lip sync challenge, or they're taking time off the streets to do this,
or being voluntold.
Even if they're being voluntold, they're still getting overtime to do it. And it's like, we could have saved that money and done defensive tactics trainings, or went to the range. Or went to the range for a day.
Right.
But instead, we want to tell everybody we can sing Selena Gomez. I didn't even think about it like that.
It's a waste of resources.
It is a waste of resources.
And not to mention, these are videos being produced by police departments, and 90% of them suck. It's like they're not even good. Like the lip sync's off. Right.
Yeah.
Like the words that they're making weird.
But the whole thing is, who gives a shit if you can lip sync?
Yeah. What does that do?
Like, I don't care. Like, I don't care. It's not doing any. It's not. And to me, that goes to mindset, man. If they said, "Hey, man, Jared, I need you to do a lip sync," I would say no.
That's what I did.
That's what we did.
I refused.
Because
That's what we did.
Like, I'm big on like neural linguistic programming, or NLPs. That's a bad NLP. To sit there and make myself do this. You know what I mean? No, my mind, like, I'm a man.
First of all,
I'm a man. I'm 40.
No, yeah. And no, that's not happening.
Time for this. I lip sync in the shower in my car and nowhere else.
Nowhere else.
I'm doing
that.
I
mean, it's just, there's certain things you just don't do. You know, like, that's just, it is, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, it's whatever. It is whatever. It's just kind of, it's just gone too far. To me, it's just gone too far. And there's going to be some new challenge.
Yeah.
And then it's just going to be, again, you know.
I think that there should be, if you want to be a police department that does that sort of thing, I think that that should be designated to just the community relations officer. Or the chief of police, and that should just be those people.
I don't even know why you would waste time doing that.
You know,
and why, like, it's a big deal to you.
But the citizens really care about it. The citizens care about that stuff. They
don't. Social media gives a shit about that.
I had citizens coming up to me asking me when we were going to do one and why I wasn't in the one we did.
That's so fucking dumb.
But then when you do it, they're not being like, well, I'm not going to shoot at you today because I really enjoyed your lip sync challenge.
Yeah, you moved.
You know what I mean? Nobody does. No one cares.
Fucking gang members are like, hey, yo, bro. Hey, good job, man.
Yeah.
Good job on that video.
You know what?
I like that song.
I really enjoyed your lip sync challenge. That doesn't happen. The people who like you are still going to like you if you don't do one.
Exactly.
That's hilarious.
The people who hate you are still going to hate you, and now it just gives you something to make fun of you about.
I don't know, Lil Ricky. It might change, Lil Ricky. Little stomach ache might change if he sees my lip syncing.
So, but you know, where does it stop though? I mean, like where does the line finally get drawn where it's just kind of like, okay, this is enough. I mean,
well, it's going to go so far that
when do you think that admin will see that it's too far?
You won't see it in our lifetime or our careers. You know what I mean?
Probably not.
When do you think? Do you think that admin will ever be like, okay, that's enough? When do you think that point will be?
There won't, because there's admins out there. It's not like every agency does it. There's admins out there that are like, no.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Fuck that. Yeah.
No.
And there are.
But there's always going to be someone that's willing to do it.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
They think that it works for the community, but it doesn't work. Like, it's just wasting resources because, like, again, the people who like you and support you
are always going to
still are going to support you. They're not going. They don't. It's not over your lip sync video that people are like, well, you know, I used to hate the police, but boy, you really changed my mind with that video.
But man,
you know, it doesn't happen.
But man, that rendition of Uptown Funk they did was just legit.
Right.
I feel
that's the thing is, people are going to hate us. because what we represent.
Right.
And it's just how it is. Like, accept that and stop trying to do. I mean, people love us and people hate us. That's it.
And
accept it and move on.
I feel the same argument can be made for the whole, and I always put this in quotations, quote unquote, militarization of police.
Yep.
I've always looked at police should adapt to the threat environment that they operate in, right? But I don't think people look at it as a threat environment, because that's a derogatory term. It's the community. It's not a threat environment. Well, okay, that's fine. We operate within a community where a threat environment exists to us, because there's always going to be people that want to hurt us, just because of the uniform that we wear, just because of what we represent, or because we're interfering in their specific activities. Now, when you look at departments that have shied away from things like load-bearing vests or
BDUs,
some sort of utilitarian style uniform, which let's not even, I mean, don't even mention the freaking health benefits that come from that, as opposed to getting all that shit off your belt and everything, and off your hips and your back and all that. When we're talking about this, the people that support you, as long as you're providing a professional police service, you're not trampling on people's rights, and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, the people, in my opinion, that support you are going to be the people that they don't give a shit what you wear. They want you protected.
Exactly. But it's just, people are going to bitch.
There's always going to be people that are going to bitch.
Group, but it's such a minor, small group that does it. I don't know why people pay them attention. And that's one bad thing that, like, social media does. It gives people who shouldn't have a voice a little bit of a voice.
The problem is, and
they're sitting there in their basement at their mom's house or whatever.
Right, with their Cheeto fingers. But
I've always... Guy just doesn't...
But it doesn't
make sense.
It goes without saying that the person in the room, regardless of whether they're a minority or not, and I don't mean minority as in race, so everybody just chill the fuck out. The minority of individuals with the loudest voice in the room are the ones that are going to get paid attention to. Mm-hmm. And that's what you have here. You have this small percentage of individuals overall. This small percentage of individuals that are making the most noise on social media. And that's really where it comes from, social media. Social media has so much, it's crazy how much social media has so much influence, not only in our daily lives, but in how police departments operate. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, we got a 5-star review. Mm-hmm. Holy shit. They liked our lip sync video. Oh, we got a 1-star review. Well, what did that officer do something wrong? Do we need to open an IA? I mean, and it's just like,
you're right, man. And but it just takes someone to say yes or no to it. And that's just what, and that's different communities. They vote in that sheriff who says no to it.
Yeah.
Or they vote in that mayor who appoints a chief. That's our job.
Yeah.
All right, roger that. No more BDUs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, then you move departments, or you change, or you try to get a new sheriff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's I can't dictate all that stuff.
Right. Yeah. From our level, no. I mean, not at all.
And it's just like, I can't. That's like, the president of the United States. Is that going to affect my day-to-day job? No.
No.
It doesn't.
No.
You know what I mean?
So many people think it does, though.
I have to do my job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obama being in office for 8 years, despite his opinions, that my day-to-day job, how I answered my calls and everything, that didn't change.
Well, it affected my job.
It didn't affect anything. So, I mean,
it did affect my job. When he came into office, he was like, hey, we got to downsize. And they were trying to get you out for anything in the Army.
Oh, in the Army, yeah.
Yeah, they were trying to get you out.
That's true.
That dude affected my life big time.
You missed that W, didn't you?
I missed W. He was the man. You got a felony? Come on in. It's fine. Everybody gets a second chance here.
You're going to have to go possibly die for that, but it's cool.
Love me some George W.
So on a side note, I need y'all's beard policy, because your beard game is fucking on. And
we just changed now. So you can have a 1/4-inch beard on patrol, like, no matter what. But I work on SWAT, so we're Homeland Security. So we have a lax grooming standards, and I take advantage of it.
I bet.
Oh, I would too.
So
I look like a homeless man showing up to work every day.
So I got some questions. So a lot of people out there who may not know who you are, know your story. Just when I was researching and looking into you, sort of, you know, what put you out there and put you in the forefront was your incident that happened in the mall. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. So back in 2008, I was working off duty in the mall, and I ended up chasing a shoplifter, and then I attempted to tase him after a pretty long foot pursuit, and the taser didn't work, so I had to go hands-on with him. As soon as I went hands-on with him, we got into a physical fight, and then he produced a .45 caliber Glock from somewhere on his body and it started shooting me. The first shot hit me dead center in my jaw and exited out the side of my neck. And then I took 3 more to my body armor on the front panel, 1 more through my thigh, and 1 in my back, and then a graze of my right elbow. So I shot a total of 7 times with a .45, and then I was able to return fire and kill him.
Golly. So when I was, you know, 'cause we do research, you know, we find out who we're going to interview. And when I was watching one interview you did, I think it was with I Survived. And you talk about when you took that first shot to the face, how you initially thought it was a strike. And you were like, all right, he hit me with a good one. Let me get back in the fight. And when I saw that, I was like, yo, this dude's legit. Like, he just thought it was a punch and was like, yeah, no, that was a good hit. All right, okay, let me get back on my game now. And then it wasn't until, you know, like a couple seconds later where you realize, like, oh shit, he's shooting. Like, this has gone a little bit further than the fisticuffs. And what can you tell people about getting a little complacent on off duty? I'm not saying you were. I'm not saying you were complacent, but
no,
I think sometimes people
I wasn't
think
complacent.
Yeah,
but I wasn't like I gave him a lot of, like, even a bunch of commands to stop or I was going to tase him, probably more than I do when I'm on duty, because it wasn't that I was like switched off, but I wasn't switched on.
You're a different mindset.
Yeah, different mindset.
It's an off-duty job.
Yeah,
Right.
because I mean, and
Right.
I've been there before, you know, and I know dudes who work off duty and don't even wear a vest.
Right.
So, you know, and like, can you talk about maybe, you know, you talked about a little bit with the switch, like, what are some things that you can do to get yourself prepared for an off duty? Because I mean, you know, it's supposed to be, you know, it's off duty. From those of you who don't know, it's just extra things we can do to gain money or to do a little security and stuff like that. And it's usually introduced to you as, oh, this is an easy off duty. You don't have to do nothing. You just stand around, and if something happens, you call the local police. You call the real police because you're just chilling. You got your gun, but you're just hanging out, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of how, like, I mean, there's easy jobs and this wasn't an easy job. Regency Mall was on Saturday nights. It can be sporty, and that's why we were there.
I like this. It's sporty.
But it was early in the night, so it wasn't to where it got sporty yet. If that, you know what I mean? Like, so
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
The evening, like the calm before the storm, is when it happened.
Right.
Yeah.
So, man, I'm telling you, it was just resorting back to training is what carried me through that day. I mean, luck of it not striking something that it needed to, me wearing my vest.
Yeah.
So for me, luck on the hits, mindset kept me in the fight, skills and training helped me win the day.
Okay.
Like that's where it was at. I mean, the mindset's great, but when you don't see a lot of people like, I'll do this and I'll do that. Well, that's cool, man. But mindset's putting the work in, putting it in early before it happens to train and do things. That's mindset.
Yeah.
Like shooting somebody and doing work, that's a lot of people can do that out of fear. That's nothing.
Right. Yeah.
But it's when you're sitting on the couch and you don't want to go to the gym that day, you don't want to go to the range, let me get up and go.
Yep.
That's mindset.
Yeah.
So I hate people that say, like, hey, you know, I'll do this and I'll do that. Will you? Because I've seen you shoot. You might shoot at somebody, but you're not going to shoot them. Or, you know.
But will you, though? Gosh.
And then, yeah, I mean, that's what it's about. Like, you know, they want to, well, I'll have the adrenaline to do it. No, you're not. You're as strong as you are in the gym. You know what I mean? That's what you are.
God, yeah.
When you show up cold, that's who you are not going to raise up and be some superstar. You might get a lucky shot, but that's luck. That's not skill. And I'm not going to count on skill luck to bring me home.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Well,
that's legit.
You can't. I mean, you can't.
So this is my next question. I had that watching this interview and looking at it and reading up on you. So, like, do you believe in God? Do you believe like there was divine intervention that day, or do you just believe it was it's how it went down? Inquiring about that.
I do believe in God. I'm a Christian, and and some people are like, well, why would God let that happen to you? I think God put me there. And in all my I've been in 4 shootings, which is a lot for a policeman.
That is a lot.
Where I was a trigger puller. I've been in like 15 around it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
because that could have been anybody that day.
I've shot and killed are evil freaking people, man.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like he introduced him. It's like, man, this is pure evil. I'm going to introduce you to my man Jared, and he'll take care of you.
Yeah, because like you said, that dude had the money in his pocket to pay for what he stole.
Yes.
And he could have easily paid for it. He could have easily stopped. And any number of things could have happened that day, but it just didn't.
And it was a pair of jeans, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It was a pair of jeans. It was a shoplifter. I mean,
fucking crazy.
It was what my first that was the second shooting. Like when I got shot, that was my second shooting. My first shooting was a guy who murdered his wife and then came and set fire to a house.
Jesus.
You know what I mean? And then my third shooting was a guy who murdered his brother and his best friend, tried to kill his mom and dad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then my last shooting was a dude who tried to kill his wife right in front of me.
Gosh.
Like, these are just evil freaking people. Like, I haven't had a shooting where it wasn't like, damn, this person's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just a real dirtbag.
Yep.
So hearing that, right, for most people may not understand this, but that many shootings, right? That's not normal for 99.9% of police officers.
Yeah.
Right. It's not. And that's why I think there is a God. Because I just think he knows that I can handle it.
And that was my next.
I don't want anybody else to handle these things. I want them to give them to me.
Right. And that was my next question was
Same me.
It was okay. So you talked about, believing that, and I was going to ask, do you think it was divine intervention that placed you in those particular situations at those times? Because it's not normal.
It's not normal at all, man. It's weird. Like, I'm telling you, so my last shooting that I was actually leaving the range going for a lunch break.
Fucking lunch breaks.
And I was held, I was held over just 5 minutes longer than I should have.
Mm-hmm.
And it happened right in front of me when we were driving. So 5 minutes, if I was held for 10 minutes, it wouldn't have been there. And if I was just got out on time, I wouldn't have been there.
Right.
Wow.
It's just, man, it's just crazy things happen,
It's incredible.
It's not think that something's going on.
That's incredible to think about. Because there's guys that go through combat that haven't experienced that many. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh yeah.
And it's just not to get in. If you're uncomfortable talking about this, I totally get it. But
I'm good, man.
No, but my next question is being in that many shootings and those shootings resulting in kills. Had you through training your own mindset, had you already prepared yourself for the after effects of that? Because there are guys that get into shootings and they kill somebody, and they're psychologically touched by that for the rest of their lives.
Yes, and I think it's because of the lack of preparedness prior to it happening.
Mentally, you mean like your mindset?
Yes, like mentally. So, in the shooting where I was shot, it ended up with me grabbing him, work together, and I put my gun to his head, and I shoot 3 bullets to his head.
Right.
Like me and him are belly to back. I'm touching him.
Right.
I felt his life go. He went limp. It was over. people are like, does that give you nightmares, or does that? And I'm just like, no, because I've done that thousands of times in my head.
Right.
Prior to this happening.
Yeah, because
that's the key. Because man, you have to think of these. You have to prepare yourself to do it, and put laser focused violence on speed dial.
Yeah.
You don't have time to go searching in the catacombs of your brain for that stuff. That needs to be there and thought about all the time, because that's where flipping your switch comes from. You don't have time to start digging in your brain for that. That needs to be on the forefront.
Right.
Yeah.
Because when it's time to go, it goes fast.
Yeah.
Real fast.
And the only thing to stop violence once it goes is violence.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Understanding that and putting it out there and being good with it before it ever happens, and understand that you can do this. It's part of our job.
Yeah.
Right.
Then that's, you'll be better off afterwards.
Yeah, I agree with you, because, there's probably officers out there who are like, I'll never have to kill anybody. And then when they do, that sort of, I could definitely understand that's going to jack them up, because they thought to themselves, I'll never have to do this. And then they ended up having to do it. And it wasn't that they wanted to, it was that the other person put them in the position to do it because they wanted to go home more at the end of the day, and they can't deal with it. And I definitely get that. Not speaking for everyone, not saying that everyone's like that.
Most of them, they were just doing a lip sync challenge 2 hours beforehand. That's police work.
Come on, man. Don't do them like that.
That's police work in their mind.
That's police work in their mind.
No, I totally agree with you, and I'll tell you why. So, in my 12 years, I've had approximately 6 incidents where I was in the process of pulling the trigger, and for some reason, whether that be divine intervention or whatever you want to call it, the circumstances changed to where I didn't have to. And but looking at that, my very first incident where I had like that was a situation with a guy who some people flagged me down and said there was a bridge under construction. This was in South Dallas, and there was this bridge under construction. These people flagged me down. They're like, hey, there's a guy that's laying on this bridge, and he's just laying there. He's got no shirt on, and he's got a bag next to him, and he's just laying there. That we think something's wrong with him. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'll go check it out. So I go over there and make contact with him. I see him. I see this bag, and sticking out of the bag, he's got 2 of the handheld tree saw blades just sticking out of his bag. And I yell at him. And I asked him if he's okay, and he literally sits up like a zombie. I mean, it was just like this fluid one motion up to 90 degrees. And he turns his head and looks at me, and he ends up standing up, and this dude's jacked. I mean, he's huge. And he gets up, and he starts telling me he's going to kill me. He's going to pick me up and throw me over this bridge, which the dude very well could have. The guy was like 3 times my size. I mean, he was huge. And he starts coming towards me. Well, he didn't have any weapons in his hand or whatever, so I pull out my OC spray, and I'm like giving him commands to stop and all that stuff. And he does, but then he turns around and he goes and he picks up the bag. And out of the bag, he pulls the 2 saw blades, and he starts swinging them back and forth. And he starts walking towards me, telling me he's going to fucking kill me and all this stuff. So I transition to my gun, and he gets about 15 feet from me, and I'm pulling the slack out of the trigger. I'm like, okay, I have to shoot this guy. And I remember having that thought, I have to shoot this guy. And I'm pulling the slack out of that Glock trigger, and for some reason, at the very last second, he throws those saw blades down and just starts screaming. And now he doesn't have. Now, mind you, I'm like a year and a half into the job, and the actions I would have taken today would have been a lot different back then. But back then, I'm running through my use of force continuum, so I'm like, oh, he doesn't have any weapons in his hand. I'm going to put my gun up. So I put my gun up. I go back to my OC. Well, he starts coming towards me, swinging, just wildly swinging. And I end up just using almost that whole can on him, end up tackling him, and then my cover shows up, and we get him in custody. Come to find out, he had just gotten out of the pen, serving 25 years for murder of a prostitute, And then he was actually a suspect in 3 fresh prostitutes killings. And homicide ended up coming and taking that over and all that stuff. But I learned then in that particular moment that because I was a little off by that. I mean, I'd never experienced anything. I'd been in fights at that point. I'd been in foot chases, and I'd pull my gun on people, and I'd use my intermediate weapons and all that crap. And that was fine. But that incident right there, looking at it as we're sitting there in jail, and I'm sitting there in the bookend line, there's a sink in the Dallas County Jail where I'm like washing. My arms were like, I couldn't even write. My arms were covered in pepper spray because I'd tackled this dude and I'm fighting with him, and he's literally covered. And I remember thinking as I'm washing my hands, and my hands started shaking, and I was like, what's wrong with me with my hands? I thought it was the pepper spray. I literally leave work and I go to Walmart and I go to buy diapers for my baby at the time. And I remember thinking, I'm standing in the diaper aisle, and I'm like, I'm standing here in Walmart about to buy diapers, and I almost just killed somebody. And like that messed with me a little bit because I had not ever been in that situation before. And going back to that mindset, I had to sit there and resolve to myself, hey, dumbass, you might have to kill somebody in this job. And yes. I repeated that mantra over and over again, and then I started getting into firearms training, and I started building my skills up. And I started developing the mindset to where I'm now at the point where all these years later, I look at it like, well, if that's the situation that has to happen, that's a situation that that person created, and that's the end result. And I'm good with it.
And that's how you have to look at it. Like for me, like I feel worse about the dogs I've killed in the line of duty.
Oh, I had to tase a dog one time, and I felt like shit about it.
It's just like dogs are just being a dog.
Yeah.
These people, we're not murdering anybody.
No.
Their actions make you do. You're making me do this.
Right. Yep. I'm a reaction to you.
I don't get any joy out of it. It's not like, you know what I mean?
Mm-mm.
You didn't sleep with my wife. This isn't revenge from me. You know what I mean? This is my job, and I'm going to do my job, and that's it.
Yeah, because I want to go home at the end of the day.
Yep.
And I have a responsibility to that.
Yep. Not only that, you have a responsibility to the public, too, to get that dude off the streets.
Yeah.
So if he's going to do it to you, he's going to do it to somebody else.
Sure.
Because he doesn't even respect the badge.
Mm-mm. No.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
No, it is crazy. It's crazy, and I don't think that. And I think you said, if you don't prepare yourself for that mindset, if you don't drill that into your head 1,000 times over and over and over again, when it does, if and when it does happen, you're just not going to be psychologically conditioned for that. And that doesn't make you a killer.
Right.
No,
it doesn't make you a killer. It doesn't make you a fucking psychopath. Right, you're training yourself. You're training yourself for that situation.
That's my thing, man. Listen, when I retire, I hope to be like thinking about tulips and working in the garden. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's not my job right now.
What kind of coffee I'm going to drink this morning?
No,
that's I want that mindset. I want to be there, and I want these younger guys to come up and take my job from me. That's my job as an older warrior to train up and to teach these guys how to do the job, guys and girls how to do the job.
Yep.
And then they take my spot so I can be that person that they're protecting now.
Exactly.
Right? You know, that's and it'll be a weight off my shoulders when I don't have to think about killing people and doing, you know what I mean?
Sure. Absolutely.
I worry about someone trying to kill you. That's the biggest thing. I think that's why I stay so mentally prepared, because I'm always like, who's trying to kill me? I've got to be one step ahead of the guy who's trying to kill me. And that's just, I think that comes from my military background, because that's just what they always teach you. I mean, that's what drill instructors drill in your head. These dudes are trying to kill you. Someone's trying to take you out the game. How are you going to stay in it? You've got to be that one step ahead.
Right. I mean, and that's just your mindset. And, you know, on SWAT, like I'm going to all these different calls. We're a super busy team. So it's just like, you know, I'm doing it, and I got to be switched on.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the days where I can switch off.
Yeah, I'm going to be real, man. I see that stuff in the news all the time. Florida man this, Florida man that. I'm like, that Florida man's at it again. Florida man's always at it.
he's a crazy one.
Yeah, Florida man's crazy.
Oh, you know, if you see an article start with Florida man or Florida woman, it's going to be good.
It's going to be good. You got to stop and read it every time.
Yeah.
So I can imagine you guys are busy. I mean, that's just crazy. I mean, just the guy who got indicted. How do you feel about the guy who just got arrested for the stand your ground law thing down there?
No, that was the media spinning the stand your ground thing. Stand your ground is just all it is self-defense.
Yeah,
that
no.
dude was going to jail. Like, I mean, you can make that argument, but first it's just stand your ground is just a part of self-defense.
Right. Yeah.
So like they just blow that stand your ground thing out. That was he's going to get. I mean, he got arrested and he deserves it.
Sure.
Yeah, that guy was walking away after the push. Yeah, I mean, when you watch the video, it's just like, yeah, you could spin that narrative if he would have kept walking at you and he would have continued to beat you up. But once you drew your pistol, he was like, oh, I'm good. I don't want any parts of this anymore. And he still shot him.
Yeah, I mean, he got pushed to the ground. You know, look, I mean, I get it, but he wasn't that old of like the guy who shot.
Right. No.
He wasn't that old. He wasn't old and feeble. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Come on, man.
Fear for his
life.
Go
to the gym a little bit. Maybe prepare yourself for a fist fight and just not wanting to shoot everybody. Just because you carry a gun
doesn't mean you shoot.
Doesn't mean that you want to shoot somebody.
Yeah, it was cool when he was yelling at the girl in the parking lot, but once her old man showed up, it was a whole different story.
Yeah, he was a tough guy.
Yeah, he was a tough guy.
Good job, tough guy.
Yeah, right. So all that about mindset being said, is there anything that in throughout your career that maybe you hadn't prepared yourself for that has stuck with you?
I don't think so. Nothing yet. I prepare myself for a lot.
Just stone cold. Stone cold.
All right, we normally have a question on here that we haven't asked to too many guests. Now I think you're perfect for it. If you could go back and tell, like, let's say to the 1995 you, since you started in 01, what's a piece of advice you would give that guy?
Don't be a cop.
God, that's no truer words have ever been said.
No, don't be a cop. Jeez.
No, I mean, this is a calling, and I love my job and I do it.
Yeah.
But I feel like I get killed in mediocrity.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like just in our jobs, like there's just so many. Like my oldest brother's a policeman, and I was just like, I wanted to be my oldest brother.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I feel like I am my oldest brother, but there's not a lot like my oldest brother. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like,
no, it makes tons of sense.
We are such the rare. I thought we were all this, and I get let down a lot by police.
No, I agree. Yeah. No, I agree with you.
And and it's not a bad thing, and I hate to like talk like that, but it's just like,
but it's the truth.
I get let down all the time, so I just want to be. I mean, I don't know, man.
I know. I get it.
I totally get what you're saying.
There,
I know what you're trying to say. But it's something that though. I don't know. I guess I feel like it's something that's. We have to look at that though. We have to talk about that. I mean, because I look at a broad spectrum of cops that I see that I work with on a daily basis from different agencies, and I'm just like.
The most important thing is where's Chow?
Yeah.
No, like.
Where's food? Yeah.
Where's Chow gonna? Where are we?
Yeah,
eating
where
tonight?
are we eating today? Yeah. I mean, I just, I see stuff, and I'm just like, especially in this younger generation of cops, and I'm just like, wow.
First thing, I mean, that's I
don't know.
Legit.
We say that about the younger generation and all that, like, but they said that about you.
Yeah, of course they did. Of course they did. And that's why
I sit there. I'm like, yeah. Well, this is the deal. I know a lot of old pussies.
Oh yeah,
in this job.
Hell yes, absolutely, 100%.
But there's always been pussies. There will always be pussies.
Always.
But there's always going to be those guys.
There's always going to be
and
a warrior.
we carry these departments.
Yeah, there's
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and that's key.
Yeah, and I think that's something that's lost on this whole uber community oriented attitude is that despite all that, and whatever your opinion is on it, and I mean yours specifically, I'm just in general, there's always going to be those break glass in case of emergency guys. And, and those are the guys. And I actually, you know, I pride myself in because I work for a very small department, and I come from a very big department. And what I experienced at the big department in the big city is not what these guys experienced. And I actually take a lot of pride in the fact that when shit hits the fan, despite how different my style of policing is versus theirs, they want me there. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Right. They want me there because they know that if I'm there, shit's going to get done. And I take a lot of pride.
Solver, and there's always going to be those guys.
Very much.
With the backbone of the department. People need to understand.
There's still going to be those guys and girls that can get out there and do the job.
Oh yeah,
right.
They get after it.
Still want to train, and they want to do this, and they want to be great, and that's what keeps me like training and in the training world and wanting to pass on my knowledge is because I know there's, you know, 85% of these people that listen to your podcast, or probably 85% of people don't even listen to your podcast.
Thanks for the realistic numbers.
And then,
thanks, appreciate that.
Then there's not like because it's fat, but it's just because they don't care.
No.
Right.
Yep.
You're right.
Exactly. No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
God, maybe that's what.
And
we're
then
missing.
there's going to be that 15% that listen to your podcast, but I'm talking to those 5%.
Yeah.
That this rings true to.
Right.
And those are the workers, and those are the ones that are going to carry your day.
Yeah, and those are the guys I looked up to when I first started up. When I first started up, there were dudes that were hitting about their 20-year mark, and this is in 2006, so they're starting back in 86 and 86, 87, 89, and some of those guys were some just hard dudes. I mean, just some hard charging motherfuckers. Even at like 20 years, man, these guys were just hard. They'd seen it all. They'd done it all.
Imagine all the highs and lows they've been in.
I mean, and these were like 20-year patrol guys. I mean, guys that were just, and I mean, working in the crap holes of Dallas. And these dudes I looked up to, I idolized them. I honestly did. I was like, it was kind of almost like hero worship with some of them. And I was fortunate enough to have two of them that really took me in and mentored me. And I find great value in that. As a matter of fact, I'm a field training officer, and I'm an instructor, and I wear a lot of hats. But like, I take a massive amount of pride in training people, especially new officers, because a lot of those lessons I learned back then, 12 years ago, I still not only practice, but I preach too. And they formed a lot of who I am, and in just the hopes that maybe one of those dudes, maybe one, is gonna emulate and absorb what I'm telling them, and absorb what I'm showing them, and is gonna be able to go up and then teach that next group. You know,
all right? Because I mean, the lessons that I try to pass on to people, these are lessons that were learned in blood.
Oh, 100%.
They were not learned; they were earned. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree, man. And
that's when you try to pass those lessons on. Like, I could give a shit if you write a report well.
Yeah,
that will happen. You know what I mean? But this is how you stay safe. This is how you protect other folks. This is how you protect other officers.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about to me. Like, that's why I like. That's why I love training and doing this and getting out and seeing different agencies and pushing officers to train and civilians to train. I mean, it's everyone.
Everyone.
I mean, it's just an awesome thing to watch somebody blossom a little bit, like that light bulb comes on.
Yeah. So we talked
that moment.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. So we had talked about that before on a previous episode. The best moment for me, the best moment is when that light bulb kicks on and they get it.
When you're training,
and they're
somebody,
absorbing that information, and you're just like, yes,
that's it.
That's it. You got it.
Got it.
And that's like, for me, that's a huge thing. Like, huge thing.
Yeah.
And I look at, and like, I'll tell my war stories or whatever to these guys. And I always preface it because I don't want people to think I'm just, because a lot of people can't relate to some of my individual stories, because I was a super proactive officer. I mean, I was a dude, I was getting after it. I loved getting after it. I mean, I've got scars and lifelong injuries that I'm going to carry with me till the day I die. I mean, and things that I experience, and I share those things as not like stories of glory, although there is some of that in there, of course. But I mean, to show the lessons that I learned from it, you know, because some of these scars I earned, I mean, they're from being an idiot and doing the wrong thing.
That's for sure.
I teach a use of force class, and one of the primary examples I used is how I went against my own knowledge and training, and did not see those psychological indicators of what this person was doing, and they got the jump on me. And right. it's the only fight I've ever lost in law enforcement. And when I say fight, I tend to, I look at that where it's like, there's a lot of guys that say, oh yeah, I fought this dude or whatever, which was, they just did an armbar takedown on a guy and fucking got him in handcuffs. That's not a fight. I'm talking about knockdown, right. Drag out fights. And I've had more than my share. And you know, this dude got the jump on me. He beat the shit out of me. I lost that fight. If it hadn't been for my cover showing up when they did, I don't know that I would be talking here today. And, right. You know, in that, you know, taking those lessons and saying, hey, look, this is what I fucked up and this is what I learned from it. Don't do that. And this is how you not do that. And to me, that's so important. And I will say, I don't know if it's true for what you've experienced, but I will say that I see a lot of trainers, and that's not the knowledge that they're putting out there. It's how to use the CAD system, or it's how to check somebody on the computer, or it's how to write a report, or it's this paper goes here and pay. That's all fine and dandy. You got to know that stuff. You'll eventually get that shit over line. But those true lessons that we should be passing on to these younger people, these guys that are just coming into it, I just don't see that on a mass scale, at least from what I've experienced. And for me, it's a problem.
And that's the thing is, man, for me, like around here, the culture has changed.
Yes.
The culture is going that way because for a long time, and, you know, just around the country, pay raises weren't coming.
Right.
Everybody's understaffed.
It's a never-ending issue.
You know, so it's like at some point, the culture, instead of being like proactive and going out and getting and just living, the culture's been like, why would I do that? I'm not getting back by my department. They're not paying me. They're not doing it. So there's always been those officers. But then when the culture, and that happens for like 3 or 4 years,
mm-hmm.
that's a change in the culture.
Right.
Like it will take a major incident to bring that culture back to something else.
My only problem with that is, though, so I look at the July 7, 2016 incident in Dallas, right? You have 5
right.
officers killed, 11 wounded. One of my friends was killed in that, and I had 3 or 4 that were wounded in that. And guys I worked with, people that I shared laughs with, ate, broke bread with, freaking fought with. I mean, like the whole 9 yards. And for a temporary amount of time, it seemed like there was going to be a culture change. And then it started to taper back off and go back to how it was. And I feel like
because
just with
it started, they were riding the ship.
Right.
But it's hard to change a culture. Like that's what I'm saying. It takes
right.
3, you know what I mean? Think of like, you know, if you didn't get a raise for a year and people like start like, oh man, screw this department, screw that. But then you got a raise and then that stopped, your culture would remain well.
Right.
But it was just years and years. That's a cultural thing. It's not a shift in morale or anything. It's a cultural thing. It becomes who you are.
Yeah.
And that's what I always tell people. You can't let that culture seep into you.
And I also
as soon as you do, it's contagious and it's gonna spread.
Yep. I also think it's the media too, because anything like, you know, something like Dallas happens and they show that and they're like, oh yeah, an officer see that and admin sees that. Well, then for every one of those stories, there's 2 or 3 officer kills minority for no reason. And then they're like, oh, well, maybe we should scale back from that.
True or not?
Yeah, true or not. True or not. No, none of the facts have even come out. They just scale it back, and they're so afraid of getting that social media backlash like we were talking about earlier. They're so afraid of what the community is going to say that they put officers' lives in jeopardy.
And you're right. But again, that's the officials that are in charge of it, because there are agencies out there that aren't like that.
Oh yeah, no.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, I lucked out with being in Jacksonville, because Jacksonville, I mean, it's a super violent and very criminal, but it's a law and order town. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
The city backs its police. You know what I mean? It's not, we're a law and order town, so I don't see it. And I picked the right department. But too many people will get on this department and, well, they're not doing this. Then leave, man. Like, go to a different department.
Right. Yeah, you don't like it, go.
You know what I mean? Like, right. And I'm like, you're miserable. Why live your life miserable?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You offer so much. Go to a different community. Like, you know, I always feel like in California, and they bitch about their gun laws and all. I'm like, then move. You know what I mean?
No, don't move, because they're all fucking moving to Texas. Jesus Christ. They're all in goddamn
Texas, man.
You want the good ones. You want the good ones. There's a lot of good ones in California. Don't
There
be
are.
crazy.
No, there are. There really are. There's a lot of good people.
But that's the thing is, like, you can't be, if you're miserable, move. If it means that much to you, move.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't put their money where their mouth is. You know what I mean?
I say, I look at it like this: move or stay and try to affect change. You know, try to be an influencer at the level that you can.
Right.
You don't like it, promote.
I mean, that's all you can be. That's all you can be. But you gotta, I mean, you can't let it, if you want to be an influencer, you can't bitch anymore. Like, that's, you know what I mean? That's the key to it.
Right. You got to identify problems and come up with solutions,
Yep.
whether they're ignored or not. And if they're getting ignored, promote. Play the game. Do what you got to do. Win over your bosses. Play the game. Get promoted. You know, try to affect the change where you can at your level. So I have one question. I totally fucking forgot it because I got off on this tangent.
You're a horrible interviewer.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so I'll jump ahead a little bit because I went out of brain fart. I worked today, so I'm tired. But what was it that led you to the inspiration of starting Reston Group?
Well, so the incident happened in 2008. I started going around the country and just speaking and just about my incident and stuff. And I was one of those guys, like, I was kind of naive to other departments that I thought everybody was getting the level of training that I was getting. And I quickly found out that was not the case.
No one was as surprised as I to find out.
Right.
And that's why I started it. I was like, look, I got to get out and just kind of have a law enforcement based, curriculum and things like that, and try to get out best practices for law enforcement.
Right. Yeah. That's super. I mean, that's awesome. I mean, what were some of the struggles you found when starting it?
Man, I mean, really nothing. My company's been a blessing. I've been blessed, like, on how it's grown, because I really never tried to. I've always had my full-time job, so I never tried to make it. Like I do. It's just becoming now where it's inconveniencing my other job. You know what I mean? Like, I'm running jobs away now.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to piss off my real job.
Right.
So I'm super happy, and then hopefully a couple of years when I retire, I can just roll right into a full-time training deal.
Good.
And that's the thing, is just trying to, just organically build the company. I never tried to make it, like social media. Like, I don't boost posts, and does that make, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. You're trying to grow it organically. Makes tons of sense.
Yeah. And just.
So has your wife ever come to you and been like, dude, stop, like, it's enough, like, it's time to move on, or anything? Or have you had a pretty good family support?
My wife's she's super supportive of me, and I mean, she'd never asked me not to go to work.
Yeah.
I mean, after I was shot, we had a couple, talks and things like that, and she was concerned about me going back to work. I mean, she loves me, so
Of course.
Right. Yeah.
I'd be worried if she wasn't like, she'd say, yeah, no, go ahead.
Yeah,
You know,
fuck yeah.
Yeah.
You working off duty this weekend?
yeah.
Hey, you updated the life insurance, right? All right, cool. Yeah.
But no, I mean, she's super supportive of everything I do. So
If she asked you to stop, would that be a conversation you'd be willing to have?
I mean, yeah, because I love my wife. I'm not going to, but I mean, she's my wife because she's not going to ever ask me to stop. Does that make sense?
No,
yeah,
no, that totally makes sense. That
sense.
totally makes sense. She loves you enough to let you do what you love.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's super awesome.
Well, and it's important too, because there's a lot of law enforcement, first responder, whatever families out there where the job starts to become an issue.
Oh yeah.
Inside the marriage.
Yep.
You know, and so that's
Yeah, without a doubt.
How important has that family support been for you? Just throughout your career. I mean,
yeah, I couldn't do my job being on call and, you know what I mean, and leaving in the middle of the night, leaving in front of my son's games. And if I didn't have my wife to take up the slack when I'm not here.
right.
Yep.
You know, even with the training company, you know, it's like I was in South Carolina last weekend or 2 weekends ago, then in Vero Beach this weekend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's like she takes it, she makes this thing happen.
Right.
Yeah. She's the one driving the ship.
Yeah, she'd have to be.
Yep. That's awesome.
Are you able to get any time off? Are you able to like have any rest time or any chill time at all? Or is it just got?
I mean, yeah, and yes and no. I mean, I'm on the go all the. I mean, that's just freaking hustle while you can. You
right.
know, you gotta get it. Like, I don't. Typically, when I train somewhere, or go teach somewhere.
Right.
So that's just kind of how it is. That's while the getting's good, I'm gonna get it.
When you look at the training industry right now, do you think it's in a good spot moving forward? Do you, and I mean that as far as where the current teaching methods are, where the current level of knowledge? Because if you look at most well-rounded good trainers, right? They're mostly while there may be some specific things that have kind of become their niche. The general information from what I've seen, while the verbiage may be different, is basically the same. Do you think that the firearms training industry is stagnant in any way, shape, or form, or do you think it's an ever evolving situation where it's continuing to move forward? Does that make sense?
Yes. It's always there's a core. Listen, I'm going to tell you, there's probably 20 instructors out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And then there's these social media, celebrities and all that shit. They're not instructors.
So you're not taking classes from VODA or anything?
That's that is what it is. And I'm not going to talk bad about anybody, but just vet your instructors, and the good ones are putting out great knowledge, and they're changing it because they're putting out new things that are learned. They're not just saying that this is what I do this because of this, because this didn't change. Like, if you took a class from me 10 years ago, it's different than the class you take now, because I'm always looking like, okay, well, I can make this better, or I can not.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Which you should be.
Yeah.
Right. That's the key to this, and these core group of instructors and things like that, and that are putting out good info, are continuing to put good info out, and it's going to get better and better and better. And just ignore the fakes. That's all you got to do.
What do you
stop giving and stop? People need to stop paying these fakes.
Yeah.
Because you're
giving them attention.
just legitimizing. Some agencies are bringing these people in. I'm just like, you're just legitimizing people that shouldn't even be legitimized.
Jesus.
What do you say to those people that think that, because I mean, your classes are probably, I'm sure you have some law enforcement specific only classes, but classes where you got civilians involved, and you have a mix of people. What do you say to those people that are like, well, civilians shouldn't be learning the same things that law enforcement learns?
Well, it's fucking America.
Right on.
It's fucking America.
Fucking America.
Right on. All right.
Pew, pew.
And if you carry a gun, you should be good at carrying a gun.
Yeah.
Regardless of your occupation.
Right. I mean, listen, the civilians who come to class, those are some of the best students.
Right.
Because they're paying for their class. They're paying for their ammo. They're paying for their hotel. You know, cops are some of the worst students. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's the truth.
Because the agency's sending them this there, and they're like, oh, well, when are we leaving? You know what I mean? Am I getting out early? Am I, yeah.
When's lunch?
What's
That's just, the civilians aren't saying that, because the civilians like, well, I paid this much money. I'll be here, you know what I mean, as long as you can keep me.
Right.
Because they want their money's worth.
Sure.
Yep, exactly. That's true.
And, you know, and I mean, I don't know. If you don't think that civilians should be trained in firearms, then you're wrong.
Yeah, 100%.
I agree.
Yeah. That's like saying, oh, they don't need to learn hand-to-hand
combat.
combat.
The gun should be safe and accurate and and winning.
So what are some upcoming events you got so people can come to some of the classes you got?
I got a couple performance gunfightings in St. Augustine. I got a concealed carry deployment, which is it's designed for like undercover plainclothes officers, but a lot of civilians do it because it's a great class just for concealed carry. Got that coming up. Just check the website, man, restongrouptraining.com, and see if we're coming to your area. And if you're interested in bringing us to your area, give me a shout, and we'll try to make that happen if you can supply a range and host a class.
So you do agency requests and all that?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, quite a bit. So if people want to learn more about you or get in contact with you, where do they find you?
Websites, Reston Group Training, Facebook, Reston Group, Instagram, Reston Group. Just check us out, follow us on social media, and that'll keep you mostly up to date with the information.
Awesome. And for people that are interested in obtaining more firearms training, aside from yourself, who are some people that you would recommend?
Who I recommend?
Yeah.
Where at? Regionally?
Just in general.
Just in general.
Just in general.
We got listeners everywhere, so
my top instructors: Paul Howe, Kyle Lamb, Dan Brokos, Pat McNamara. Anybody from Northern Red is a jam up place. Kyle DeFore is awesome. Bill Blowers,
good dude.
Yeah, great dude. Lot of knowledge. Shit, who else am I forgetting?
It's like a shout out.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I feel.
I'm gonna give Bill Blowers an extra shout out because I'm afraid if I don't, he'll kick my ass. Because I'm pretty sure he could. He's an intense guy. Awesome. Well,
Chuck Pressburg, awesome. He's putting out good information right now.
Pressburg's pretty legit.
I know I'm saying a bunch of Army dudes, but
yes,
but they got good information.
Cool.
That's kind of how I got put out. I mean, that's who, you know, Paul Howell started mentoring me like a long time ago. So, and that's not it, but I just can't think. That's who I got off the top of my head.
Yeah, I like to, you know, if I talk to an instructor, I like to hear who they've trained with and who they recommend outside of themselves. You know, I feel like that's a good aspect of a good trainer is they'll tell you, you know, learn from this guy, learn from this guy, learn from this guy.
Yeah, because everybody picks up something different from somebody else. Just like you said, right. You may say something totally different, but it's almost the same. You'll say it a different way than someone else will, but it's almost the same information.
Yes.
So I got 2 more questions for you.
Okay.
If you were to be, and maybe you have, I don't know, but if you were to be invited to speak at a police graduation, academy graduation, what advice would you give brand new cops?
Brand new cops?
Yeah.
handle your beat. And just don't let it jade you. Stay the officer that you are right now when you're graduating throughout your whole career. Don't let this change who you are.
That's interesting you say that. That's been a very common response, and I don't mean that to discredit to diminish the response, but at all. But because it's sound advice, but the people that have asked that they've said very similar things.
Yeah. Stay true to yourself.
Remember this moment. If you feel like you're getting jaded, remember this, why you got into it, and how you feel right now. So that's pretty good advice. And then other one, do you have any recommended books or anything that you've read that might help people?
Both Paul Howe's books are great.
Is Paul Howe paying you? Brought him up.
No. You can't.
No, he's a legit dude.
You want to talk about mindset?
Yeah, no, he's squared away.
That's a great dude.
Damn, all those Delta dudes are pretty legit.
Yeah, I mean, the on combat and on killing books are good, but they're hard to read.
They're big book. They are. The language in them is interesting.
Yeah, like it's like reading a textbook. So I mean, it just doesn't flow. You know what I mean? It's like good information and it's good, but it just
you feel like you need to
hard to read.
Yeah, you feel like you need
force
to
yourself to read those. They're good.
Yeah, you feel like you need to do a college thesis on it. You know, they're intense, but
yeah.
All right. Well, Jared, we really appreciate you being on the podcast, and good luck, man. You're an awesome dude. You have an amazing story, and man, I loved having you on. I really appreciate it.
All right, no problem, man.
Thank you, man. We appreciate you.
Need back, just let me know.
Absolutely,
for sure.
Absolutely, man. All right, man. Take care.
All right, fellas. Later.
All right, bye. All right. I want to thank Jared Reston for being on the podcast.
Yeah, super good dude.
Yeah,
that was I like that interview. That was pretty good.
Yeah, he's
legit. Like
he's
he's not just talking about some shit he hasn't been through. He's been through that shit
4 times.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, of his own.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just incredible. You think about that, and it's like,
dude, that mall incident was intense. Like when you hear him talk about it on those interviews, YouTube this guy, and you're gonna get a bunch of shit. A bunch of stuff's gonna come up besides ours. But he's legit. He's the real deal.
Yeah.
And you get to see him without the beard and with the beard. It's hilarious.
It's totally different.
It's totally different night and day.
Totally.
Have you seen him without the beard?
Yeah, he looks completely different.
Completely different dude.
If you go to police1.com, they have a series called Will to Survive, and his whole story. He tells his whole story, the whole incident, that particular incident. So it's pretty interesting.
Yep.
So, yeah.
All right.
I think that's about all we got, right?
Yep. So, social media.
Yeah. Where do we get found?
Instagram, Street Warrior Radio. Facebook, Street Warrior Radio. Twitter, Street Warrior Radio.
People, I'm going to rant.
Go ahead. Tell them about themselves.
All right.
Tell them about themselves.
Social media.
We've actually grown a little bit on Instagram.
A little bit.
We've got an uptick.
But
we're trying to get to that 500 follower mark, people. We can't crack 400. We get right at 400 and then we just drop off.
Well, a lot of those are bots or fake accounts.
Some of them are.
Some of them are.
I've noticed that we've gotten less bots though. Since our followers have grown.
Yeah. So
since we've come back, we've gotten like 40 new followers, and I think only 3 of those were bots.
So here's the thing, Mr. Bigbo here is going to explain where to find us here in a second. But
wow,
before we do that, call to action.
Go ahead.
Call to action.
Tell them.
You need to share this fucking podcast, people.
Share it.
If you're following us on social media, you got to tell somebody.
You got to tag them.
You got to tag people. You got to say, hey, follow these fools.
They're legit.
We can't believe that these are actual police officers. Follow them.
Follow them. We're one of you.
One of you.
We're a family. You're not treating us like a family.
Nope. You're like that drunk uncle that nobody wants at the party, Bigbo.
Why does it have to be me? I don't even drink.
And I'm that crotchety old grandpa that nobody wants at the party. And that's a problem.
It is.
It's a problem.
It is a problem.
Because at the end of the day,
I'm more like the fun guy that you want at a party. Trust me.
Yeah. And I'm the guy that stands in the corner and sulks. Everybody needs that guy.
Well.
Oh, we don't?
No. Not at every party, but you're good to have at one or two. Like the Christmas
for
party.
Sure, the Christmas party.
For
Because
sure.
I got angry stories.
Yep, you're going to get drunk no matter
I'm gonna
what.
get drunk. My pants are going to come off at some point.
Why are your pants coming off?
I don't know. That's just normally what happens.
I don't think I should get drunk around you anymore.
There wasn't one time.
Here, as he sips his drink slowly.
Anyway, share. Sharing is caring.
Tag Instagram, Street Warrior Radio.
Tell people.
Tweet, Street Warrior. Use the hashtag Street
DM
Warrior
us
Radio.
with a bunch of people. We'll do it for you.
Yep.
DM us with a bunch of people, and we'll tag them
We'll tag them.
and say, hey,
Your friend said follow us.
yeah, we'll totally dime you out. But
Oh, I'm going to snitch on you.
100%.
I'm going to tell her.
Yeah, completely.
I'm a finger pointer.
Oh, yeah.
That's a stinky finger.
Wow, this got off track.
So much of our lives.
Jesus Christ. We can't do anything. We have to have guests because they keep us on track.
Yeah.
Otherwise-
that's what you don't understand. They keep us on. They keep us
Like,
on the
literally.
straight and narrow.
We come up with like a top when we're doing an episode of just to the two of us. We come up with a topic and we make it about 50 minutes to an hour into it, and then it just fucking rabbit trails into a whole nother dimension normally.
Yep. Thanks for
So-
sticking with us, though, people.
Yeah, those who have stuck with us, thank you.
Yep. Make sure you're following us on Facebook. Share our podcast on YouTube. Share the link with someone. Just share it with them, so that way they have to open it.
And hey, listen, if you're listening to an episode for the first time, right, and you're like, God, I just don't know about this, give it longer than 20 minutes.
Give it more.
Give it more than 20 minutes.
Give it more than 20 minutes.
Just maybe 25 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes.
40 minutes.
Just listen to the whole
Tops.
episode. Have it run in the background. You may find some useful information
You definitely will.
at some point.
Or you'll definitely find a good joke to tell somebody.
Oh, yeah.
Or a good story that you can claim as your own. Take it.
Take it.
Take my stories. Take
don't-
my horrible life stories.
We don't care. Nobody's going to know
No one's going to know. I'm not going to tell anybody. I swear. This time I swear I won't tell nobody.
this time.
This time. I'm living my best life. Ain't got time to... What you... That's a really great song.
I don't even... what song is that?
Living my best life.
Oh, that's literally what it's called?
That's literally what it's called. I don't know who sings it,
Oh, well,
but I'm living my best life.
live my best life. Okay.
So yeah,
Whatever.
find us on those social media sites. Follow us.
Tag.
Tag people.
Subscribe.
Subscribe. Share. Like. All that good stuff.
Because our downloads don't match our...
Steve
that's
Nash.
not a bag. That's not a box
Steve
of
Nash.
trash.
Steve Nash.
That's not a box of trash. The
Steve
brick.
Nash.
The brick there.
I made it in there.
You missed.
Steve Nash.
That's not even a box of trash. That has fucking audio equipment in it.
I just made it in there. Steve Nash.
Oh, Jesus. Nobody even knows.
Who doesn't know who Steve Nash is? You talking
There's
about
a lot of
the
people
back-to-back MVP?
There's nobody knows who he is.
Back-to-back MVP of the league?
There's somebody out there that doesn't know who he is.
Back-to-back MVP of the league. You talking about that guy? Has
Yeah.
LeBron James ever done that?
I think so.
I don't think he's won back-to-back.
I don't know. He's one of a few.
No, he's won back-to-back.
Yeah. Pretty sure he did.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But Steve Nash did it first.
Before LeBron. Yeah, that's absolutely true because they were in the
Absolutely
league
true.
at different times. But it's cool.
They were in the league at the same time.
partially, yes, for a little bit. But was Steve Nash...
The championship that LeBron James lost to the Spurs, that should have been Steve Nash's ring, motherfucker.
Why?
We got cheated by the refs in San Antonio. There's documentation that ref was on the take during that game. And that's the one where they fucking Robert Horry with his fucking braces mouth comes off the fucking bench and Steve checks Steve Nash into the goddamn announcer table. And the bench is cleared and they were like, oh, you know what? The whole fucking Suns team is suspended for game 7. Not the Spurs team, no. Fucking cheating motherfuckers. Shout out my homeboy Steve Nash in
Was
Canada.
that when he was on the Heat?
Who, LeBron?
LeBron, yeah.
No, fuck no. He was in Cleveland.
Cleveland.
That was
Oh.
his first one. He lost to the
Oh,
Spurs.
that's right. That was in
Got swept.
2006.
6.
No.
Yes.
That wasn't 6.
Yes, it was.
No, 6 was the Heat and the
Yes, it
Mavs.
was. No, it was not.
2006 NBA Finals was the Heat and the Mavs.
Bitch, no, it wasn't. In 2006,
Motherfucker.
it was the San Antonio Spurs and
it
the
was
Cleveland
not.
Cavaliers. Google it. The fucking Heat and the Spurs was in 2009. Or no, the Mavs and the Heat were in 2009.
Nope. They
Yep.
weren't.
How much will I make a bet?
You really want to do this?
Yes, I really want to do this.
You really want to
I
do
really
this?
want to do this.
Okay, you set the bet.
I'm taking whatever bottle of whiskey out of your freezer.
Okay.
All right.
All right, cool. NBA Finals 2006. The NBA Finals 2006 were between the Miami Heat versus the Dallas Mavericks.
You're such a fucking liar.
Come here.
I'm gonna look.
Come over here.
You're such a liar. That was not 2006.
You stupid fuck. 2006. That's the year we got robbed of the championship.
That wasn't LeBron. That wasn't LeBron.
I know that wasn't LeBron.
There was 05 that I'm talking about.
Fucking swear to God. Bitch, that's still so I still get to keep my bottle of Monkey Shoulders whiskey. 2005 NBA Finals was Detroit versus San Antonio.
Was it 07? It couldn't have been 07 where the
Let's see.
Cavs and Spurs.
Let's see.
That was not 07.
Cleveland Cavaliers and San Antonio Spurs.
That was 07?
That was 07, yes. 2007.
That's crazy.
I didn't even remember that the Detroit Pistons went in 2005.
Me neither. Who'd they face?
The Spurs.
Did they lose?
Yes.
Oh, shit. That was the... Damn.
And then in 2008, we got into the whole Lakers versus Celtics thing again.
Yeah, 08, 09.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow, I was wrong.
Yep.
I was fucking wrong.
As usual.
That's crazy. Somebody right now is listening to this podcast yelling, Bigbo's wrong, Bigbo's wrong.
Detroit Pistons went back-to-back in 2004 and 2005?
Yeah.
They won in 2004.
They beat the Lakers. They beat that super team Lakers.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because they were saying that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
Just like in 2011, they were saying the Mavericks weren't going to beat the super team Heat.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, but they did.
Dirk was on Mars, kid. Dirk was on Mars.
Fucking another planet.
Dirk was on fucking
Best
Mars,
year
bro.
of his career. Literally one of the best. It's finally getting recognized as one of the best marches to the NBA championship.
Oh, because I thought he was out when they lost game. What was it, game 2 or 3 to the Portland Trailblazers?
I think it was game 1 of that series. They got their ass kicked.
Yeah, all I know is I was texting my boy like, "Oh, same old Mavs,
Same
can't
old thing.
do it, bum ass bitches."
But he was the only superstar on that team.
Well, I mean, you had an aging Jason Kidd, you had a very young Tyson Chandler.
Yeah, but they weren't.
Who was my homeboy to bless? What was his name?
Which one? Deshaun Stevenson.
Deshaun Stevenson. That's the homie.
Mr. 3-pointer. They
blood,
got
blood.
after the finals. He got arrested in Irving for PI in an apartment complex.
I mean, he was living his best life, bro.
Living his best life. He was NBA champion.
NBA fucking champion at that point. Well, fucking go to jail for what?
That was crazy.
He's a man. He had just came from running with Ron Artest.
Oh, you know what?
He was playing.
You were wrong
for
again.
The Washington Wizards.
2009 finals wasn't the Celtics and Lakers.
Who was it?
It was the Orlando Magic
And the Lakers.
I don't even remember the Orlando Magic.
Yeah.
Who did they have on that team?
They had Dwight Howard. Their point guard is that dude who just runs around and tries to get people to clog the baseline so he can dish it out. What's his fucking name?
Hold on, I'm about to.
And they had the light skinned dude with the tattoos who ended up playing for the Lakers. God, what's his name? They had Barnes. They had Matt Barnes on that team. Dwight Howard. I want to say Trevor Ariza was on that team.
Trevor Ariza. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and they had Hot Sauce. The dude from the N1 mixtapes was on there. They had Turkaloo was on there coming off the bench for Dwight.
You're right. They had JJ
Redick. Yep.
Dwight Howard. Oh, Gortat. They had Gortat, Tony Batty, Rafer Alston.
Yep, Rafer Alston, Hot Sauce.
That's great. That was a Tyronn Lue. That's funny.
Yeah, they actually had a pretty decent team because that team ended up beating.
Well, it's funny. Other than Dwight Howard, there's no real super. There was
Who
no
was
real
their point
superstar.
guard? Who was their starting point guard for that team? Because I don't know his name now because I hate that dude.
It was Anthony Johnson.
No.
Then it was Rafer Alston.
No. Who's their shooting guards?
You got Jameer Nelson.
Jameer Nelson.
That's who it was.
That's who
Yeah.
was. That he played the point most of the time for them.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And the only time they actually did good was when Rafer Alston came off the bench for him.
The Lakers had Ariza.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know somebody had a reason in that series.
Man.
I thought it was the Orlando
They
Magic.
had Gasol, Bynum, Derek Fisher.
Yeah. That's when Derek Fisher came back.
Lamar Odom before he was on crack.
Yeah. That's when he won the Sixth Man of the Year for that year.
Adam Morrison.
God. Oh, and they had
Can you believe Adam Morrison, who was this super prospect, right? They were like, this dude is going to be like the next freaking whatever. And He has a disease.
They don't know what to call it.
I don't remember what it is. There is a name for it. I don't remember what he has. It doesn't matter. Well, I'm sure it does to him. But for the purpose of this conversation, it doesn't matter.
What a horrible person.
And that dude literally walked onto a Lakers team, right, as just some bench filler. And probably played like 5 minutes the whole year. And his freaking ring.
Hey, who they had? Did they have the coach for the Lakers? What's his name now?
It's Walton.
Yeah, did they have Luke Walton? Was he on that Lakers?
He
squad?
was.
Yep.
He was.
Yep.
Out of Arizona.
Yep.
AZ.
Yep. U of A.
Yeah. Wow. Interesting.
Crazy, bro.
Well, everybody's turned us off by this point.
No, yeah.
Nobody cares about this. Everybody that listened for Jared Reston does not care about this right now. Yeah. They're like, oh, you watch sports? Oh, my God. Sports is
And this is what happens when we don't have a guest.
I could be on the range and not... I find that shit so... Sports is fucking about leadership. It's about competition. It's about family. It's entertainment. Give it a rest.
Give it a rest.
The people that make fucking shit fits about that, and I don't care who I offend right now, the people who give fucking shit fits, they go on these little social media rants about, I don't watch the Super Bowl. I don't watch sports. I'm on the range.
You also don't enjoy life, motherfucker.
Who gives a fuck? Really? Seriously, who cares? Who cares? If somebody wants to enjoy sports, what's wrong with that?
I still can't believe I was wrong about that.
Oh, I can believe it.
My timetables are so off.
Bro, I know when the Mavs went to the finals.
I'm pretty serious that I think I have some sort of disease. Like some brain disease. I'm serious. Like,
now, why did we say this?
Oh, I Googled it. So, okay, so
that was your first mistake.
I've developed this like neck twitch, and I don't know if it's just because of stress.
It's because you're fat.
It's not it. That's not it, motherfucker. I've developed this neck twitch, and it's really weird. Like, it's always like right before I go to sleep. It's like if someone like coughs behind me, I'll like twitch. Like, and it's really weird. Or I'll just be sitting there and like certain noises kicking up. So I like Googled this shit, and they're like, you got a fucking nerve disease, and you're probably gonna have dementia soon. So I really have
dementia.
Yeah.
Boy, that fucking escalated quickly. How do you go from dementia?
But dementia runs in my family.
You're 35, 36 years old?
It doesn't matter. I was in the military. They did a lot of CT.
Bro.
They did a lot of CTE stuff with us.
You've got a nervous twitch.
See? You see
you
it?
just faked that shit in front of me.
I didn't fake it, I swear. There's a twitch. It's legit.
You don't have...
I have a...
dementia.
I don't have it now, but I'm having it.
You don't... No, you're not
I'm
having
get it.
This is not early onset dementia.
I have early onset dementia.
You don't.
Yeah. No, I have a brain disease.
You don't have a brain disease.
I'm pretty sure I do. I'm going to go speak to a doctor about it. He knows more than you do.
Oh, God.
And they're going to give me a CAT scan, and they're going to tell me I'm dying in a week. And I'm living my best life. If someone tells me I have a week to die, I'm doing it up.
Oh, if I were told that, it's on.
Oh, we're sorry. We got the test mixed up. You're good to go.
Shit, I got charges pending now.
The other fuckos got about a day to live.
I gotta go to Belize. See ya.
They don't have extradition treaty? Shout out all my homies in Belize. Belize Navidad.
Paradise.
Belize is a crap country.
Well, except for the tourist spots.
See?
Oh my God.
There it is. There it is. It's the worst. I went to a chiropractor trying to fix it.
It's not real.
And he was the worst chiropractor I ever went to.
Well,
he gave me a good massage, though.
Personally?
Yeah, no, like he had this thing. It's like I don't know, it's like this big metal thing.
Were you wearing pants?
Yes, motherfucker. It's a real legit business. He's a chiropractor, not a massage parlor.
A chiropractor.
Yes.
Quote unquote.
So I went there and like he gave me this really good, like it's like a deep tissue massage tool. And it massaged me really, really good. First, the table was amazing because, like, the table you lay on it, and it just bends the lower half of your body.
Oh, I'm sure it does.
Oh God, yes, you're actually in that position. But it was.
And then he had a tool.
Oh God.
Was there some butt stuff?
No, there was no butt stuff. What's wrong with you? I have dementia.
You don't have
dementia.
Why would you mean? Don't be mean to me. I have dementia.
Would you talk to like an old person in the home with dementia like that?
Of course not.
Then don't talk to me like that.
But you haven't. You don't.
I have. You
haven't garnered that level of respect of. I'm an old person who's lived my life.
Well, I still have
dementia. And now
dementia.
I have dementia.
I still have it.
You don't.
You don't know that though.
No
one knows that. I almost died on an operating table 3 months ago.
No, you didn't.
Yes, that was 2 months ago. You're right. I almost died on the operating table.
No, I'm right about the fact that you didn't almost die.
No, I almost died on that operating table.
You did not.
I saw my life flash before my eyes.
Oh my God. Where do people find us on social media? I'm done with this.
I already told them.
No, you didn't. You didn't finish it.
I did. I said Instagram, Street Warrior Radio, Twitter, Street Warrior Radio, Facebook, Street Warrior Radio. Just search all of that on your local fucking social media.
Now you did. Now you did.
This is the third time I've told them.
It's not. How can they get in contact with us?
info@streetwarriorradio.com, Bigbo @streetwarriorradio.com, and JC @streetwarriorradio.com.
Yeah.
Oh, God to mention.
Hey, live Q&A.
Yes, we're going to have a live Q&A. I'm going to post about that. It's probably going to be about 2 episodes.
It's really not live, but we will, if you DM us on
with your phone number
and
your name
or your Skype handle
and a picture of yourself.
We're taking female applicants only.
Don't say that. Don't do that to us. We're not taking female.
We have
just joking.
We have like 3 females that listen to this podcast.
If that.
We don't have anybody listen to this podcast. Fucking. Anyway,
yeah, you can ask us questions and we'll answer them.
Yeah, on the podcast.
On the podcast.
We'll call you
up. You can ask us your 2 or 3 questions. You can get on a tangent with us. Hell, you might be the whole fucking episode.
Maybe.
Who fucking knows?
You never know. Depends on how interesting you are.
It depends on what we're doing in life. So
all right.
There's that.
Yeah, there's
so
that.
With that, Bigbo is out. Salute.
All right. I want to thank. Oh my God! I want to thank all the men and women. Oh Jesus!
Shit.
I want to thank all the men and women out there in our armed forces who are out there protecting us every day overseas, keeping the bad guys at bay. Thank you for everything you do. Thank you for the sacrifices that you make. To our first responder brethren, our police, fire, paramedics, thank you for everything you do. Go out there every day. Be safe. Remember your oath. Do the right thing. To the families of all of our military and first responders, thank you for everything that you do, the sacrifices that you make. It is noted. We do appreciate you. And to all the other people out there who make the world go round, thank you. Thank you to our listeners, our followers, our supporters. We appreciate you. You make the sacrifice worth it. You make the service worth it. And with that, Street Warrior Radio is out of service.
Blah, 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 blah.